So it's 4:30. I was up a little after 2. Um, so I'm starting off the day with an obligatory of, well, with changing the track. And I'm gonna need to do some obligatory influentials. I'm not entirely sure exactly what it was. The only thing that really strikes me as obvious is, Fixed by Nine Inch Nails. The Gave Up remix specifically. I know I was specifically, thinking about it being kind of like a beatbox, but I never listened to a lot of hip hop, so it was always, I mean, it was coming through some other vector. I mean, I listened to a lot of stuff that was influenced by hip hop. Um, I'm old enough to have interacted with that first kind of crossover, but young enough that I don't really have any direct experience with the first kind of generation of hip hop. So it was like stuff like Nine Inch Nails or Autocra or um, that Warsaw, stuff like that that had um, I guess that's another engine maybe. I'm not sure what the political aspect of this was that was pulling me. Early 1998. But I have been, I don't know. There's no obvious political reference. No Canadian election, no American election. That was meant to be a spoiled ballad. Um, you get the idea from there. The truth is that that's a pretty well, there wasn't much I can do with the mix. It was kind of ruined by MP3 compression and left to sit for a long time. I tried to fix it a little bit, and it sounds better through headphones. But this is the remix that I did over the summer. It's not totally finalized yet, but I'm pretty sure that it is. And you can hear the track a lot better through laptop speakers on this mix. So as you can hear, it's a pretty booming drum part there. There's a lot of noise in the background. The guitars are full on noise, like weird loops. And that it's actually not like a turntable. It's a guitar. There's like sample generation and all kinds of noise, basically. And the guitars are, I'm gonna say it's probably mostly organal guitars. Trying to pinpoint it though. It's got like an old like Beatles blues bass to it to some extent, but I was thinking like maybe something on Pisces, I think. Actually, maybe I might want to, yeah, you know what, I think the first SYR1, Sonic Youth, that might be a decent reference there too. and this uses like 80s synth drum background parts that come in here. That was like old Genesis. Like 80s Genesis, like the Brazilian kind of thing. But it has like almost like a throbbing gristle or cabaret voltaire feel to it. You know? I think the vocal to it is really mostly a guitar solo. Actually, I think maybe XYU. Yeah. Which is like all crimson. But I mean, I think this is kind of the general truth with a lot of what I was doing at this time. It's like I skipped the proper album version and I went like right to the remix. Um, like the only versions are the twisted versions. I got a few ideas there. I'm gonna get to them. But I think it's a positive step in my development as a musician to. I mean, I just turned 17 here, so I'm still quite young. But it's a little less obvious what it is that I'm emulating, so it's a good step. In fact, I think most of what's going to come up from here on in is going to be a little bit harder to pin. The obvious emulation stage was, I mean, it was really mostly limited to my first couple of demos, and it's mostly past now. So now it's the influences are less on my sleeve and more, under the cuff. So it's a little bit. I mean, it's rarely difficult to hear the idea that I'm trying to go towards, but it's not as obvious what I'm drawing on. So that's kind of a good step forward for me as I'm going through the alter reality here. And I think I've got enough ideas here to actually write some obligatory influentials. This always takes a few hours, so I'm thinking probably I'll be at this until the sun comes up. I'm going to need to eat, and then I'm going to get to trying to see how effective the shielding was on the phones. Okay, so it's noon. I've got a little bit of dishes to do. I'm done my obligatory influentials. I'm done eating, and I'm done procrastinating for a bit. I need to go and venture over into the room over there and make a choice. I'm gonna listen to. I actually left the computer on all night on purpose. To allow the signal from the computer or whatever else is around it to interfere with the cable, to bounce off it for a bit. It's going to be probably pretty clear pretty quick whether or not I'm still picking up interference. If I am still picking up interference, I suppose there's a possibility that I might have something in my ear, or something like there might be something else to shield. but I think it's going to be pretty clear to me within an hour or two whether or not um, I have a system that I can work with or not. And if I do, I'm going to get to work. If I don't, I'm going to start cleaning. Um, am I tempted to buy another pack of cigarettes? Well, how many have I got left? One, two, three, four, five. I'll have 5 left when I sit down. I'll know fairly shortly, and I don't want to. That's kind of the important part here, is that I don't want to. I'm gonna try to stretch those out a bit and see how far I can make it through there, and I'll make a decision. What time is it? It's noon. Make a decision probably around 9 or 10 tonight. In fact, I'm not uploading that last segment at all. I'm just going to point out that it's a little after 4. And I do feel that I'm stable for now. So I'm going to put myself into my algorithm of smoke, smoke, which means that I probably will buy another pack of cigarettes, although there's a different reason for it. It's almost Christmas, and I have the right to get myself a little Christmas present, I believe. That said, that's going to depend on the stability, because I don't want to treat myself to a Christmas present until I'm certain that the mixes are stable, because Christmas presents and mixing don't work out well. I have to be done mixing before I get to my Christmas present. But that said, if I do finish mixing, then I do want to get to my Christmas present, because it's a big part of finishing the mixing process too. So, it's going to be one way or the other. It's either going to be that I'm going to finish mixing over the next couple of days and get my Christmas present, or I'm going to realize I can't, and then get my phones, and then wait till Christmas before I get my Christmas present. It's going to be one way or the other, but right now I think I'm stable. I'm going to throw myself into my algorithm, and we'll see how long I'm good for. Christmas present is in. Now I need to listen to this first, to see. I don't know, I may cheat a little and have my Christmas present a little early. We'll see. It's a little before 6, and although I've already closed track 1, called Terrorism is used to restrict civil liberties, I am closing it again. I think this is the 3rd time I'm closing it. The 3rd time in this place of these vlogs that I'm closing it. I've closed it repeatedly before that. It sounds good. If anything, the bass is a little weak, which is fine. It suggests to me that maybe I was getting not just interference on the top end, but maybe also interference on the bottom end. But I didn't really want. I mean, the fuzzy bass was something that it was just kind of like, eh. But I mean, I don't recall mixing it that way. It sounds good. It sounds the way it's supposed to sound. So I'm moving on to track 2. So it's about 6:30, and I am actually happily closing track 2. The problem with track 2 was that I had an older version that I had initially mixed months ago, back in July, and then a newer version that I did a few weeks ago when I thought the system was pretty close to stable and I wasn't sure. Every time I mixed, every time I was listening to it, I listened to it a few times, and eventually this fuzz on the distortion would come in, um, because there was so much crap in the drums. I think the drums were. I mean, it's a really it's a as a kind of a symbol. It's a really it's a noise generation. It's a noise patch built on top of each other repeatedly and just slightly out of phase. So you get like a noise and a flange at the same time, but it's like it's a it's a flange built by naturally staggering noise pads out of phase, um, which might have been fucking it up just by the nature of what it was. But regardless, it seems finally stable now. And I didn't want to make a decision on the new mix until I could actually hear the old mix sound right. Um, and the new mix does sound better. I get it's the guitars are a little bit cleaner through most of it, except for the distorted part where the guitars are a little bit more distorted, which is fine because it's the distorted part. Um, but it's I'm that that was one of the ones that kept holding me up there. Um, so I'm happily closing that one. The new version does sound better, and it sounds right, so that's good. The next track is really the third track. It's really the major um, moment of truth kind of thing. It's got so much noise in it. It's itself played backwards over top of itself. So I've got a track running forwards, and then I've got a track running backwards, only in the left side. It's all kinds of digital distortion, all kinds of drum machine effects. So there's like so many different causes of noise. It's coming off of a tape, so I'm getting that as well. And the other things, I don't know how much of this noise is just. I mean, I'm not sure if this is even possible, but because I'm taking this off of 20-year-old tapes, well, they're not quite 20 years old, but almost 20-year-old tapes. Am I like, did I like pick up like magnetic noises off the tape, and am I playing those magnetic noises back, and is that fucking up the phones? Um, I don't even, I don't know if that's possible. Well, let me rephrase that. I would suspect that it is possible, but I don't know how likely it is. I think that it would have to be massive flukiness to somehow pick up the exact noise pattern off of the tape deck into the sound card and then have that reproduce at precisely the interference pattern that's gonna like that would be like I should go buy a lottery ticket. But who knows? I mean, I can't disprove it. And I do think it's possible, maybe very unlikely, but possible. So whether this works out or not is going to be the determinant of whether or not I can keep mixing. If I mean, and I can try a few things, like moving my head around or whatever, right? But um, if I can't get this to sound right at a decent volume, then I'm gonna pull back and enjoy my Christmas present for the night. If I can, then I'm gonna plow right through because the next 5 or 6. I mean, if this track comes out fine, then the next 5 or 6 will come out fine. So this is kind of the turning point here. So I'm gonna go have my between track smoke, and when I come back, I'll find out whether I can keep going or not. It's 7:30, and while I am picking up a mild field on the phones, it seems to be magnetic, and it can be rather easily reset. I don't know if you can see it there vertically. Damn you, stop vertically. Um, if you can see it out there, it's disconnected. And I'm leaving it disconnected while I go for my between track smokes. meaning I am actually putting the third aside and moving on to number 4. The first 3 were already set, and in fact 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and probably 12 already set. In fact, even um, 15 and 16 sounded really good when I was doing the walk the other day. Um, 13, 13 is schizoid, and I didn't actually finish a mix on that one because I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the bass to sound right. And 14 is stupid, which I kind of decided at the last minute to add. I wasn't even going to add that one at all, and I'm still a little skeptical about it. But yeah, I noticed that like if I pull the phones apart, or if I even just leave them a little off my ear, it kind of resets, and then if I put them back together, it's nowhere near as bad as it was before. So I think that shielding the cable actually made a huge difference. But at the same time, whatever I'm picking up, it's in the air. I suppose it's possible I'm picking up an electric field in the air, and I suppose the electric field could be charging the magnets in the phones. But I'm thinking it's more likely that it's magnets from the street lamps. It is, as I said, 7:30. That's just about peak period. If I can get a little bit past, well, I can get past 10. I'm probably out of the heaviest period, and I'll see if it goes down or not. But I mean, this is manageable. I think that if I get into the habit of disconnecting the phones before I go for a smoke, that's probably enough to get a good listen in between songs, kind of thing. So it's still not clear to me that I can't shield that. Maybe I can shield it. These are things I'm gonna have to test when I get new phones. And I'm certain that they have, that there's no break in the wire, kind of thing. If I bring the new phones in and it's completely stable, well then, I know that it can be shielded, right? And I'll have to try swapping out the wires. But I'm starting to actually get a little bit worried with these phones because that sounds more like it's a short in the wire, sorry, in the driver. And if I've got a short in the driver, then they're dead. But I'm not. I'm in the worried stage, not in the deducing stage. For right now, the third track is done. I'm moving on to the fourth. Like I say, I believe that the next bunch of tracks are finished, and I should. I'm confident that I will have a resolution up to track 9 by the end of the night. Anyways, I'm gonna fall asleep eventually, and I do think I'm gonna dip into my Christmas present by the end of the night. So it's midnight. I closed track 4 about an hour ago. After playing around with a couple of things, I realized that I probably have a short on that side, so I wrapped it up in tinfoil. And it seems to be resolving the problem altogether. I don't know if the reason is because there's a short in the cord, or if there's a short, or if it's not connecting properly. It's not clear to me at all. What I will say is that that's the side that was weak on the other cord, so there was a lot of... I was playing around with that side quite a bit. I've also noticed that putting the tinfoil on the other side actually does make a difference. What that suggests to me is that it is something magnetic. That there's something off here, and that I'm creating a magnetic field, and it's the magnetic field that's picking up the magnet, which is what I thought. So I really think I need to try with the other cords. Sorry, with a completely new pair of phones. Um, for what it's worth, it was on the left side that the other phones broke, um, which is making me wonder maybe if I might be getting something from that side of the wall. Because if I'm sitting here, that's my left side, right? And it's also the side of my face that's been weird. So I don't know, am I getting some like brutal signals off of the electrical boxes back there? Um, I still have some testing to do about that, but as of right now, I have every reason to think that I am entirely stable with the tinfoil on there like that. Um, as I say, I've closed the fourth track. It's getting a little late, so I'm not going to be out too much later. But I will be probably closing the fifth track tonight as well, and maybe even the sixth. We'll see. Um, I'm going to want to eat before I start thinking about Christmas presents. I'm thinking it'll probably not be till tomorrow. On top of that, it's a little cold, and will be for the next few days. I might want to wait until it warms up a little before I open that Christmas present. So, um, that'll give me time to do all the things I need to do with this. Um, and get going. But I'm quite confident that whatever the source is, this is a fix that is working in the short term, and I can run with to finish this record at the least.